Okay, so as you can see there, it was on 21st of August 1879 that that particular apparition supposedly took place here in Knock on the gable end wall. And you seen, like, that's a depiction there of those statues of exactly what the 15 people seen, and the apparition stayed there for 2 hours, right? As I said, personally speaking, I don't agree, I don't believe it happened at all. Anyway.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you can call me a doubting Thomas or whatever, but that's okay, I don't mind. And people will say to me, sure, if you don't believe in God, sure, there's no hope in the future. There's you know, that all your troubles and everything, that you're on your own basically, and in this life, right? So, but you see, this is the way I think of life, right? Okay, I love all the lovely things that are in religion. I love all of the, you know, empathy, compassion, forgiveness, all the nice things, you know, all the lovely attributes that makes your one life on this earth more bearable, so to speak, right? And if we all followed them, life would be a better place, so to speak, you know what I mean? But I think, this is my own thinking now, is that to me there's no afterlife, right? There is no God. God did not make us at all. We just evolved. And you can say to me, but how can you say such a stupid thing like that? How can something come from nothing, right? Well, then you can answer the other question, who made God? And just people stupidly believe in, so God was always there. It's incomprehensible, but God was always God, if you know what I mean, right? And I don't want to get into the whole thing, but the whole thing about evolution, right? You know, we came out of Africa or wherever, right? And but if you read what do you call it? It's going to say the history of the earth from its 4.5 thousand years history, right? And you read scientific, evidence-based. They're not out to tell everybody there's no God. They're not there to prove or disprove a God existence. They're just following evidence on, like, fossils they found from, you'd say, 900 million years after the formation of the earth. So you're talking over 3.9 billion years, and at the whole different periods in the world's evolutions since then, and all the species that were thriving on the planet and died in between the ice ages, like the ice ages that went on for 100,000 years, and then in between the ice ages there was 10 to 20,000 years where the earth kind of warmed up, right, and where life was able to flourish, and then the ice ages came again and wiped everything out. And if you go back to the homininus, this is like, you know, Homo erectus, and right up to the Neanderthals, and then up to modern day man, you know what I mean? Like, you can see the whole evolution of how we became what we are can't be disproved, you know what I mean? It can't be disproved. You know, it wasn't God that made us. It was just, if you want to call it nature or evolution or whatever, has brought us to where we are now. That's my opinion. I stand by that opinion. I'm not afraid to say that. And if I insult people, the people who believe in a God or whatever, so be it. You know, so be it. Like, you know what I mean? Because the believers are going to the same place that I'm going to, and that is nowhere. You're going nowhere. You're going back to the nothingness you were before you were ever born. And you might think that that's a sad way to think. It's not a sad way to think, because it actually makes me more in my one life, means that what would you call it, that goodness matters more, actually matters more, because it's not about the next life. You know, everybody, and we're here to, Jesus came down here to save us from our sins. Now just think about the stupidity of that for a minute. To save us from our sins. We didn't ask, none of us asked to be born into this world. And then this guy, Jesus, comes, who's the Son of God, who's basically telling us we have to change our ways, and in order to get into the kingdom of heaven, we have to change our ways, and it's all our own fault for all of our imperfections, right? Our imperfections are there because nature itself is imperfect. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not transitioning on to any other place. Believe you and me, we're not. And that's why I'm saying that goodness even matters more because of that. Because the more goodness that's in people, there'll be less aggression in society, there'll be less people in prisons, there'll be less actual depression in people, because there'll be more of a community spirit, more empathy, and like, say, even in the job situations and stuff, as that, like jobs and stuff, right? Well, you're not going to be, people, employers, if you have more empathy, more compassion, they're going to treat their employees better, right? It's going to be a more fairer society. So all the people in the world who want to believe in an afterlife, that's fair enough, that's fine, go ahead, but you're not better than me because I'm an atheist, and there's no way that you can tell me that I'm wrong. No way, you cannot prove it to you. All you have is a book that you read called the Gospels or something, or the Gospels, or in the Muslim world it's your man Muhammad, who went up into a cave in a mountain for 23 years. Just think about that for a minute. Imagine me saying today that I went down to a cave in a mountain in Wicklow for 23 years, and I was hearing the voice of God, and I wrote it all down, and God was speaking to me. They'd be coming along to take me away in the white coat and put me into I don't know, an institution or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, so and you can say to me, well, what about all these brilliantly learned people, studied religion for years and years and years? Personally speaking, I think they've actually brainwashed themselves into the whole lot of it. No, I'm sorry to say it, but we're not going anywhere, my friends. We're not going anywhere. And this apparition here did not take place, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I've not been in over there, looking at the depiction of the apparition, right? And it's lovely in there, lovely and peaceful. And there's people in there, and they're contemplating, they're meditating, and they're praying. Fine, it's lovely. If it brings them peace of mind, that's fine. Like any other kind of way you try to find peace of mind. But my own personal view, people, is this never happened. The same with Lourdes never happened. All these religious places where all these so-called miracles happened, where the Virgin Mary, which was supposed to be the mother of God, right, appeared. As I said to you, going back in 1879 here, there was no electricity, there was no TV, there was no cars, there was no trains, there was no motorbikes, no kind of transportation of that kind, no TV. No one really travelled anywhere in the world, right? And it was really insular Ireland. Really, everything was based around religion, and the Catholic religion in particular. So no wonder people claim they seen this apparition. They didn't see this apparition at all, not a chance. What was I going to say there? I'm kind of losing track of what I'm trying to say here, but people come from all over the place, and they come to a place like this they're looking for, say tragedies that happen to the family or something, or they're looking for peace of mind, and they come here and they think they're going to get it here. Maybe some of them do, but you're not going to get it here, people. You're not. Anyway, I'll just walk around here a bit more. Then all along here, look, you have all these water dispensers, right? This is all called holy water, blessed by a priest, obviously. So this is all holy water, and people are filling their cans and bringing this holy water home to bless their homes and bless their families, and to keep them safe and stuff. You know what I mean? It just does not make sense. It's beyond comprehension in this day and age. It really is. You know, this is June the 8th, people, here in Ireland, right? And look at me with this coat on me. It's freezing cold here. There's as you can see, there's showers all day and a big wind coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Yeah, so that church there was completed in 1976, and actually there's a mass on in there right now. So yeah, so that's it, my friends. That's Knock and the apparitions of Knock. So I'm like one of the apostles, the original Doubting Thomas. You know what I mean? And personally speaking, start reading more than one book. Start reading more than one book. Open your minds to the whole world, to all the information that's in the whole world, and you know, start asking yourselves questions. And you know, I think a lot of this religion stuff and that, and believing in a God, is all because we cannot accept the finality of death and the complete and utter randomness of living your one life, and the pain and the suffering that's here. You know, people say you cannot come along and say it's all for nothing, when in actuality you can. You can say it's all for nothing. All the pain and suffering and all the heartache that we all go through is for nothing. There's no superhuman being out there in the universe or whatever, called this God, that's going to save us, and it's going to bring us off for us to live in a new, I don't know, in a different way than we are now. In other words, you know, and not in this body experience. You know what I mean? Like, not in this body experience, not in this three-dimensional world, but in a different place where you're going to live forever and ever and ever. Take it with that for 1 minute. Forever and ever and ever and ever in total harmony and peace. I mean, it's just complete and utter poppycock. It's total bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. And I'm not trying to convince someone. I'm talking about me. This is me, Don, here over here in this holy place in Ireland called Knock, right? And this is my opinion of it. This is just my opinion of it, and you'll never change my mind. You'll never change my mind. You know, it's not that I don't want to believe in something. I was born into the whole Catholic religion stuff. My father, I would have called him, he wouldn't even realise it, but to me now he was a fundamental Catholic. Fundamental. Had us down on our hands and knees every evening to say the rosary. Made sure we went to Mass every Sunday. You know, we had to say our prayers every single night before we went to bed, right? And you might say, that was a good thing he done. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Because you should not force somebody, a child, when they're born, into your way of thinking or your culture. It's like programming a computer. Do you know what I mean? It's like programming a computer to make it function a certain way, and that's what the cultures in the world are doing. They're learning from their mothers and fathers. Like India with all those different religions over there, the Hindus and the Sikhs, and you have the monkey god and Shiva, and you know, they're the same. They light candles and they light incense, and there's the Buddha, and it's all nonsense, pure and utter nonsense. And the sooner we come to terms with it, my friends, as human beings, the better we will be, I think. Right, so that church that I was in there, right, where the apparition supposedly took place, right, where you seen the statues of what the 15 people seen, okay, that was the gable end of this church here. Look, this is an old picture here. Look, you see? I don't know if you can see it, right? So the apparition took place again the gable end of this wall of the church here, okay, and all where them people are now, it's all that built up part that I showed you there with the glass, bit of glass up near the altar, and all the seats and stuff are. So that is the wall there. That's the wall, the gable end wall of that church where it supposedly happened, and where they have the sorry, the statues of the apparition, where you can visit, okay. Lovely place, I have to say now. Beautiful, real peaceful on the inside, really peaceful. But again, you're not going to change my mind that never happened. I'm telling you now, it never happened. I have to say, this is a beautiful church, or cathedral. No, it's called a Basilica now. As you can see, there's loads of seating in here. They have masses. Actually, there's a mass just after finishing there, and there's a group of people, older people, around the corner here to the right, and they're sitting down and they're reciting the rosary, saying Hail Mary, Holy Mary. Now, I done that as part of a family of 10 until my dad died when I was 19, right? Every single evening we were forced to kneel down in the sitting room in our home and look up at the Sacred Heart picture, okay, on the wall, and recite the rosary. As I'm saying, that was done against my will. My father died thinking he was gone to heaven, you know what I mean? When he was taken sick, the first thing he asked for was for a priest, not a doctor, for a priest, okay? And he was born into the Ireland where the Catholic Church dominated here, you know, and where they really and truly believed that you know, that it was a heaven, and that you're going to another place after here, and it must be good and all the rest of it, right? But now I'm not what do you call it? Mocking the people over here that are reciting the rosary, right? But I'm just here, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if that's what gets you through each day, gets you through in your life, and you believe in all that, fine. But I can tell you this much for nothing: they're no better than me. They're no better than I'm a secularist, right? There's no way, and no matter how good them people are, if they're a better human being than I am, they are not going to any special place. I can tell you that now, quite categorically. They're not going anywhere. No more than where I am. I know where we're all going, but we're not going to this special place out there somewhere in the sky or in the universe, you know what I mean? And this thing of sitting down in a place like this and praying to God, just think about that. Say, or if someone gets sick, I'll pray for them, and I'll pray to God, and hopefully, or I'll pray to a saint and to make them well. Just think about that for a minute. Think about the logic of that, and how irrational it is. Just think about it deeply think about it. Widen your mind, my people. As I said, I'm not trying to turn anybody off God, but and I know I won't anyway, but I'm not going to burn in the fires of hell or anywhere, that's for definite. But this, having said all that now, this basilica is a lovely basilica, I have to say, it's lovely. So it's saying here, memorial to the papal visit on the 30th of September 1979. This is the cross of the altar on which our Holy Father Pope John Paul II celebrated Mass on the occasion of his visit to Knock Shrine. The cross itself modelled on the ancient Celtic cross of Aheny remains in grateful remembrance of the greatest event in Irish history since the coming of St. Patrick. Standing at the foot of this cross, the Holy Father, as a pilgrim, addressed 450,000 other pilgrims and said, "Here I am at the goal of my journey to Ireland, the shrine of Our Lady of Knock." So, yeah, so like Pope John Paul II, his name was Carol. I can't give me the W, and he was Jesus, very cold over here, very windy, and June, right? Yeah. So Pope John Paul II, he was a Polish man who became Pope, and he came to Ireland in 1979, and he visited over here in Knock, and in Galway, and in Dublin's Phoenix Park, and in a place outside the town of Drogheda, okay? And in 1979 he gathered massive crowds. Ireland was still Catholic, right? Was still real Catholic. Some of the churches actually were nearly too small. They had to rebuild churches, or make bigger churches for the whole lot of people that was going to mass, okay? And now, you won't believe this until I tell you this, right? That can you just imagine how much of a grip the Catholic Church had on Ireland, right? That in the late 1980s, we had a referendum in this country, right, to make contraception legal. Can you imagine that? There was a referendum in Ireland to make contraception legal, because the church had such a grip on people and telling people what to do and all the rest of it. So since the 2000s and all of the church scandals and all that kind of thing, but I think personally it's more than that. I think you could say, oh, people are losing their faith, I say, to me personally, I think it's a great thing. All the younger people, and you can say, oh, they're not, that's why they're all on drugs, and they don't know, they're all lost, or they need to turn back to God and all this thing. Again, I say no. I said to you, I could never go. I was in there listening to them older people there doing mumbling the rosary, decades of the rosary there, and I just standing there and saying I could never ever go back to that. Never ever go back to it. I don't want it. I want my Ireland to be what it's turning into, which is a secular Ireland, not insular, forward thinking, and and like with these new modern smartphones and everything that people have, okay, there's good and there's bad to it, but it's opening people's minds to the whole world, the knowledge of the whole world. As I said, read more than one book, my friends. But it's a nice place here. It's a nice place, and I'm not trying to knock people who still believe. If it gets them through the day, that's fine. But they're no better than me, I'm telling you now. And at the end of their journey and my journey, we're both going to the same place, which is we're going into the abyss of nothingness. And that people might say, God, I feel so sad for you. I feel so sorry for you. Well, don't feel so sad, and don't feel so sorry for me, because I'll tell you why. Because when I die, I'm not going to know nothing. I won't be disappointed, because there is nothing. And as I said to you, I won't be able to say to the believer, I told you so. And they won't be disappointed, will they? So anyway, I'm going to go out here onto the main street and look at all the little shops that sell all this stuff associated with this place called Knock. Okay. So there's good old St. Patrick, and there's Mary, and there's a lovely blue and white Mary. And there's probably Saint Bernadette, I think it is. And there's Jesus with the heart, and Mary, another bigger Jesus, and two smaller Saint Patrick's, and Jesus carrying the cross. You see, Saint Patrick is out in force here as well. Saint Patrick statues. Now there's Jesus, I trust in you. obviously because Knock here is really a religious place. You can see all the religious shops here and books and stuff, like, and they're, you want to call it their way of thinking. Like, look, you have abortion, the ultimate child abuse, Holy Face of Jesus booklets, medals and chaplets, beads available in here. And then you have books, like all different religious books, and 15 things to do in the midst of suffering, God's plan for love, you know, secrets of divine mercy, all that kind of stuff. Pro-life, fair enough. Marriage challenges, silent retreat, unexpected pregnant, and here's the thing here, the Holy Face of Jesus, find out more. And life is sacred. Now, I'm not knocking any of that, people, at all, not knocking any of it. Let's go over this side here, see what's here. St. Paul's shop. Here's more. Look, you see what I mean? Look, you can buy a tall Virgin Mary if you want. You can buy mid-size Mary. That one there is 120 euros over there. Here's smaller little Virgin Marys, smaller ones here. There's Jesus, I think, or one of them. No, down there. Child of Prey, I think it's called there. More holy statues, cups of the apparition of Knock. I love Knock. Pretty cool. Hi. Well, I'm going in over here for a cup of tea, my friends. Restaurant and coffee shop. Alright people, so that's it from the Holy Shrine of Knock, Ireland's holiest place for Catholics, right? As you can see, it's a real tourist attraction here. People frequent here 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It never stops, right? So that's it from Knock in County Mayo. Check it out, it's a nice place actually. Pity it's not such a nice... It's pity it's not such a nice day today, but anyway, lovely place to visit. And that's my opinion of what I think of Knock, and don't be offended by it. Keep the faith, my friends, and yeah, as I said to you, I've got my opinion, you've got yours, and please don't anybody leave comments in the comment section telling me that they feel sorry for me or something, and they hope that I restore my faith or whatever, because they won't, okay? So that's it, people from Knock in County Mayo. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned and for the next video. I don't know where it's going to be, but it'll be somewhere. Bye.